Part 3. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 21. Wu Guanghui was very discerning and assisted directly from the side. When Li Hao heard Wu Guanghui's words, he looked at Qin Yaking beside him with a half smile, and said weakly, "How about we stay here tonight?" Li Hao didn't care, it just depended on whether the goddess would answer or not. When Qin Yaking heard Li Hao's words, her pretty face suddenly turned red with embarrassment, and even her neck was blushing. She was so beautiful. Hiss. Immediately afterwards, Li Hao felt a sharp pain in his arm, which was caused by being pinched. "You want to be beautiful?" Qin Yaking glared at Li Hao directly. "Yaking, are you staying here tonight or going back to the villa in courtyard number 1? It's up to you. Your mother and I will go back first, so we won't hinder you two here." Qin Lai said unexpectedly at this moment. After learning that her daughter's boyfriend turned out to be the second largest shareholder of Yuhao Group, Qin Lai's attitude had changed and he wanted to hold his grandson in his arms right away. Hearing Qin Lai's words, Qin Yaking's eyes widened even more. Even her father did the same. For a moment, Qin Yaking felt ashamed. Qin Lai took Qin Yaking's mother out. "Haha, let's go back to the villa." Li Hao looked at Qin Yaking, but he was satisfied and said with a smile. Immediately, he thought of his brothers again. Li Hao was still ready to talk to his brothers. So, Li Hao came to the private room next to him. Wu Guanghui still followed behind with the hotel management staff. Completely he looked like he was going out for inspection by the leader. Before Li Hao went in, he heard the sound of a quarrel inside. "Song Zihao, I'm the one who invited this birthday party." "No problem. I'll pay for the meal. But I didn't order this bottle of Lafite, right?" Wu Chao and Chen Tao had just returned to the private room and were planning to pay the bill and leave. However, as soon as they came in, they saw that Song Zihao and Ye Qingqing were drinking vigorously, and besides the beers they ordered before, there were actually more beers on the table. "I bought a bottle of Lafite, and upon closer inspection, it turned out to be from 1982. How much does a bottle of 1982 Lafite cost? At least it would cost tens of thousands to resist the food on this table." Wu Chao immediately felt unhappy. "What? Isn't it just a bottle of Lafite? We just ordered it. Aren't you hosting a birthday party for Qingqing? Qingqing and her best friends want to drink, but they can't even afford a bottle of Lafite." Song Zihao said with a sneer, and his brothers next to him also looked at Wu Chao with sarcastic expressions. Wu Chao's face turned red, and his heart was filled with immense anger. If Ye Qingqing agreed to his confession and became his girlfriend, even if he borrowed money, he would give her a bottle to satisfy Ye Qingqing. But now, when he saw Ye Qingqing, he just felt that he was blind before because he would like this kind of green tea. He didn't want to stay here for a moment anymore. He felt that he was really a fool. If he didn't even have this bottle of Lafite, if you have to pay yourself, then you are really stupid. What the hell, she's not Laozi's girlfriend. Why do you have to invite me to have a drink? Wu Chao was really angry and couldn't help but curse. Bang. Hearing Wu Chao's words, Song Zihao's face turned cold, and the brothers next to him slapped the table and stood up, glaring at Wu Chao fiercely. "Boy, who are you talking about? Who do you want to call me? Looking for death, right?" Song Zihao and the other brothers said fiercely to Wu Chao, as if they were about to take action. Wu Chao and Chen Tao were also shocked. But at this moment, you can't be timid. Anyway, it's okay for me to pay for the meal, but I didn't order this bottle of Lafite. You guys pay for it yourself. Wu Chao still said firmly. After saying that, Wu Chao was ready to go out to check out. "It's a joke. If you don't want to pay for a bottle of wine today, you have to marry me. Who do you think I, Song Zihao, am?" But at this moment, Song Zihao said sharply again. Next to them, Song Zihao's brothers had already taken a step forward, preparing to surround the two of them. The expressions of Wu Chao and Chen Tao changed again. Wu Chao, in particular, was extremely gloomy, but if he took action, there would be many people on the other side, and his brother Chen Tao would also suffer. But at this moment, what? Are you trying to bully my brother by taking advantage of the crowd? An evil voice came from the door of the private room. When everyone looked around, they saw Li Hao, and there were many people following Li Hao, especially that woman, who looked amazing. Mouse. Rat. Wu Chao and Chen Tao were overjoyed when they saw it was Li Hao. Song Zihao and others' expressions froze. Gosh, this woman is so beautiful. This is what everyone in the private room is thinking at the moment. Ye Qing, Zhang Wen and other women also looked dirty when they saw Qin Yaking next to Li Hao. Not long after this guy went out, he actually brought such a beautiful woman? Song Zihao suddenly felt that Ye Qing, whom he had just caught up with, seemed not so beautiful anymore. Swish swish swish. Just as Li Hao finished speaking, Wu Guanghui behind him rushed in with a group of hotel men. Hotel security guards continued to come from all directions outside the hotel, surrounding the private room. What's going on here? Wu Guanghui immediately asked the waiter in the private room. Boss Wu, this is what happened here. The waiter immediately described what happened here, and Wu Guanghui's eyes suddenly became a little cold. How can Mr. Li's brother be bullied here? Wu Guanghui came to Li Hao's side and said respectfully. Boss Li, how about leaving this to me? Li Hao glanced at Song Zihao and others, but his eyes were filled with a hint of coldness. Even if he took action, he could deal with Song Zihao and others by himself. But since Wu Guanghui took it over, he should be able to do it well. Well, thank you. Li Hao nodded, without any airs. No trouble, it's my honor to work for Mr. Li. Wu Guanghui was flattered and said quickly. Then, Wu Guanghui stood up again and said. I am Wu Guanghui, the general manager of this hotel. I have learned about your affairs here. Let me tell you this. Except for this bottle of Lafite, all other items are free. Wu Guanghui said lightly, and then he looked straight at Song Zihao. But, did you order this bottle of wine? Song Zihao frowned and said coldly. I ordered it, that's right. Since you ordered it, you have to pay for this bottle of wine. If you don't pay, you may not be able to leave our hotel. Wu Guanghui said lightly, but his voice was filled with an unquestionable momentum. He has been in the business world for many years, and the momentum he has cultivated is not to be underestimated. For a moment, Song Zihao's face turned pale. The other party was obviously targeting him. Seeing the other party's battle, coupled with the other party's identity, Song Zihao was a little scared. It seems that he can't refuse the wine money. God-level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 22. When Song Zihao heard Wu Guanghui's words, his expression became very ugly. Mr. Wu, my dad is Wu Gang, the general manager of San Steel Group. Can you please do this for my dad's sake? Song Zihao still refused to give up and immediately carried his father out. His father was the boss of Sanshan Iron and Steel Group and had a certain reputation in Jiangbei. But Song Zihao hasn't finished speaking yet. Wu Gang from San Steel Group. Haha. Your father's face doesn't matter to me. Wu Guanghui said directly and coldly. Song Zihao's face was extremely gloomy. He didn't expect that the other party would not give him any face, and in front of so many people. In that case, forget it. Isn't it just a bottle of 1982 Lafite? I can still afford this amount of money. Song Zihao said immediately, and then asked again. But Mr. Wu, may I ask who this beauty is? When Wu Guanghui heard Song Zihao's question, A faint smile appeared in his eyes, and he looked at Li Hao and Qin Yaking next to him, but he looked indifferent. "This is the chairman of ISCO Group, Miss Qin Yaking," Wu Guanghui said immediately. At this moment, Song Zihao took a breath of cold air. Naturally, he knew that ISOCX Group was a very famous advertising company in Jiangbei. He had heard from his father that the owner of this advertising company was the daughter of Mr. Qin of Qinrui Group. Qinrui Group is a famous investment group in Jiangbei and even the entire southwest region. It invests in many projects and companies and is very powerful. Unexpectedly, the beautiful woman in front of him turned out to be the boss of Yaking Group. This is a big shot he can't afford to offend. Next to them, Wu Chao and Chen Tao were also shocked. They didn't expect that this beautiful woman had such a powerful background. It seemed that the mouse was on his lap. I don't know how the mouse got to know this beauty. It's really hidden too deep. As for Ye Qingqing and others, they couldn't help but feel shocked when they heard the woman's identity. The other party is superior to them in appearance, figure, and temperament. Now he is actually the chairman of a large company, and his status completely overwhelms them. Ye Qingqing and the other girls looked at Qin Yaking with a little more complexity in their eyes. "I gave you the money for this bottle of Lafite." After hearing Qin Yaking's name, Song Zihao no longer hesitated at all, but the next moment, his eyes fell on Li Hao again. "Li Hao, right? Although I don't know how you used to get close to Director Qin helped you, but don't be happy too early, don't let us meet you next time." Song Zihao said coldly to Li Hao again. In his opinion, it must be Wu Chao's friend Li Hao, who was a bit more handsome and hooked up with Qin Yaking, and then asked Qin Yaking to help him, and naturally Wu Guanghui also. It was for Qin Yaking's sake that she came out to help Wu Chao and the others. Immediately afterwards, Song Zihao actually said to Qin Yaking, a kind reminder. "Director Qin, you'd better be careful and don't be fooled by this kid." However, when she heard Song Zihao's words, Qin Yaking was stunned, and then a strange look appeared on her face. She didn't say anything, but looked at Li Hao with a half-smile. Li Hao was speechless, and then looked at Song Zihao as if he were an idiot. Next to him, Wu Guanghui was stunned for a moment, looking at Song Zihao as if he were a fool. "Are you an idiot?" Wu Guanghui shouted coldly. "This guy still dares to threaten Director Li, is he seeking death?" Song Zihao's face turned dark instantly, feeling a little baffled. "Do you know who he is?" Wu Guanghui immediately said to Song Zihao again and looked at Li Hao beside him. Song Zihao suddenly looked at Li Hao again, and his heart suddenly thumped. Song Zihao suddenly remembered that Wu Guanghui seemed to have called Director Li when he came in before. Director Li? Could it be that this is Li Hao? Song Zihao looked at Li Hao. This Li Hao seemed to be indifferent from beginning to end. "I only heard," Wu Guanghui say slowly again. "He is the director and global executive president of our Yuhao Group." His. Wu Guanghui finished his words. Everyone in the private room was shocked. "How is this possible? This is impossible." "What? He is the global CEO of Yuhao Group. Isn't this a joke?" Song Zihao looked at Li Hao in horror. His heart was filled with turmoil, and he felt that his feet were weak and he could no longer stand. Yuhao Group? This is the real big group. Song Zihao's brothers and friends next to him, as well as Ye Qingqing and others, had their eyes widened in disbelief. Unexpectedly, Wu Chao's friend turned out to be the director and president of Yuhao Group. This is the real boss. Unexpectedly, such a person had eaten with them before. Alas! Ye Qingqing sighed, feeling as if he had been hit hard and his chest was so tight. Originally, she had a chance. Unfortunately, I missed it. Even Ye Qingqing felt a sense of regret in his heart. If he had agreed to Wu Chao's confession before, would he have had a chance to be with Li Hao? The idea of green tea is so weird. I'll go. Is the rat the president of Yuhao Group? Holy shit, is this really true? Wu Chao and Chen Tao were also shocked, as if they had seen a ghost. They had been with Li Hao for so long, but now they knew that the brother they had been with day and night was actually a big boss. You have offended Mr. Li, Song Zihao. From today on, you have been included in the blacklist of my Yuhao group. From now on, you will not be able to stay in any hotel of our Yuhao group. Of course, not only hotels, but also other industries. Then, Wu Guanghui said something that made Song Zihao want to cry, but Song Zihao was helpless. After knowing Li Hao's identity, he could only pay the bill with his brothers and leave in disgrace. Let's go too. Li Hao said to Wu Chao and others again, and then prepared to leave directly. Mr. Li, shall I send a car to take you back? Wu Guanghui said to Li Hao again. No. But Li Hao still refused. When Wu Guanghui sent Li Hao and others to the door of the hotel, the crowd did not know when it started to boil. What a cool car! Whose car is this? Aston Martin so humming cool. It's a new car so humming rich. In front of me, there was a huge truck head pulling a carriage, and inside the carriage was a brand new Aston Martin V8 Vantage. At this moment, two people were operating to unload the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Not far away, Song Zihao and others had not left yet. What a cool car! Ye Ching Ching and other girls standing next to a BMW Z4 also sighed in their hearts, feeling that this BMW Z4 was not so attractive. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 23. This is a dark green Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Its streamlined body shape satisfies most people's fantasy of a sports car. Although this Aston Martin V8 Vantage only costs about 2 million, and this is the entrance of Shanglaxi Hotel, there are many million-dollar luxury cars, but at this moment, it still caused quite a stir of vibration. Obviously, this Aston Martin V8 Vantage was reserved by a rich man, and it was delivered. Everyone is guessing who this car belongs to. Li Hao and Qin Yaking walked out, followed by Wu Guanghui. Wu Guanghui wanted to send a car to transport Li Hao and others, but Li Hao refused. Li Hao originally thought that since Qin Yaking drove the car, he could just take Qin Yaking's car back. As for Wu Chao and Chen Tao, he could just abandon them. But when Li Hao saw the car, a bright smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. This is my car that has arrived. The system really delivered it to where I was on time. The next moment, just when everyone was still in shock, a man in a suit walked straight over and came to Li Hao. Hello Mr. Li, I am Wu Chaoyang, the store manager of the Aston Martin Southwest 5 store. The Aston Martin V8 Vantage you ordered has been delivered and all the procedures have been completed for you. Here is the car key, please sign for it. The man in a suit said directly to Li Hao, with a respectful look on his face. At this moment, everyone was shocked again. Damn it, rat, is this your car? Mouse, you can't do it, right? Rich, you are the real rich. Wu Chao and Chen Tao were already shocked beyond measure. Taking Li Hao with them today was the right thing to do. Mouse's identity as a boss was actually exposed. This guy was the real rich man. Wu Chao felt that he could write a novel even when he returned home. He had already thought of a name, so he called it, My Brother is a Rich Boss. Qin Yaking's beautiful eyes are also full of brilliance at this moment. This guy is really surprising. As for Wu Guanghui, he was stunned for a moment. No wonder Director Li refused to arrange a car delivery himself. It turned out that he had directly ordered a new car. Oh my god, this car belongs to him. This is the real rich man. You are so young, could you be a rich second generation? When everyone heard Wu Shaiyang's words, The uproar continued. Everyone's eyes changed when they looked at Li Hao. There was curiosity, surprise, and even more envy and jealousy. This car actually belongs to him. Song Zihao and the others who were not far away happened to see the scene again, and their hearts were shocked again. Their expressions were extremely ugly and complicated. As for Ye Qingqing, her intestines were filled with regret. She decided that she would find a chance to break up with Song Zihao when she went back. However, the next moment, Qingqing, come in and try the car. Zhang Wen pulled Ye Qingqing into the BMW Z4. Huh? Why does it seem like I've been in this car before? Zhang Wenwen's confused voice came. What's wrong? Wenwen, have you ever ridden in this car? Ye Qingqing was puzzled. No, I mean, this car seems to have been ridden by someone. Zhang Wenwen shook her head, frowned and said weakly. How is that possible? Isn't this a new car? Ye Qingqing said disapprovingly, and got into the car the next moment. Immediately afterwards, Ye Qingqing also frowned. The interior doesn't look brand new, the leather on the leather seats is a bit tarnished. This. Ye Qingqing's face turned cold and he looked at Zhang Wen. Open the key and take a look. Zhang Wen said to Ye Qingqing again. Ye Qingqing immediately listened to Zhang Wen. Immediately afterwards, the two saw the mileage on the panel showing 32,250. Second-hand car, Qingqing, this is a second-hand car with more than 30,000 kilometers on it. Zhang Wen has already called out. Ye Qingqing's face also became very ugly. The car Song Zihao gave him turned out to be a second-hand car. Song Zihao, how can this car be second-hand? Ye Qingqing immediately questioned Song Zihao. I didn't say it was a new car. Although it was a second-hand car, it cost me more than 100,000 yuan. Song Zihao was not too happy either. You. When Ye Qingqing heard Song Zihao's words, he looked at Song Zihao with wide eyes and his face turned pale. Didn't expect that the other party was such a person? Break up. Song Zihao, I want to break up with you. Ye Qingqing was extremely angry, feeling like he was being tricked, and said loudly to Song Zihao. Here comes the reason for breaking up. After saying that, Ye Qingqing walked directly to the roadside without looking back, not wanting to stay here for a moment. Qingqing. When Zhang Wen and the other girls saw this scene, their expressions also changed, and then they chased after Ye Qingqing. Damn, bitch. Seeing this scene, Song Zihao's face became extremely ugly and he shouted sharply. Li Hao didn't know what was happening here. Li Hao directly signed for the car, then walked directly to the brand new Aston Martin, and then sat directly in the driver's seat. Comfortable. Let's go, beauty, I'll take you for a ride. Li Hao smiled and said directly to Qin Yaking. Okay. Qin Yaking also smiled, bright and beautiful, and did not refuse, and sat directly on the passenger seat. My car, you can drive it back, and drive it to Jiangbei No. 1 courtyard another day. Qin Yaking threw her Porsche key to Wu Chao and the others again. Thank you, goddess. The two were immediately excited and hurried to the direction of Qin Yaking's Porsche. They had never driven a Porsche before. Buzz. The car started and made a roar. Let's go. Li Hao said to Wu Guanghui and others. Mr. Li, take care. Mr. Li, take care. Wu Guanghui and others immediately said respectfully, watching Li Hao drive away. The people around, watching this scene, cast envious and jealous eyes in their eyes. Li Hao drove a sports car, carrying Qin Yaking, and he was in a good mood. This is what young people should be like. This is life. After a series of events tonight, the two became much more familiar with each other. However, in the car, the two of them surprisingly didn't speak, and the atmosphere was awkward again. Soon, the car drove to the edge of the Xiangjiang River, and they got off the car and walked to the railing. A full moon hung high in the sky, illuminating the earth. In front of them, countless high-rise buildings were shining with lights under the moonlight. The night was undoubtedly beautiful. The night is so beautiful tonight. Qin Yaking looked at the gorgeous night view and couldn't help but sigh. She hadn't been out like this at night for a long time, and she had never been so relaxed at this moment. Yes. Li Hao nodded, but his eyes were looking at Qin Yaking beside him. He didn't know whether he was talking about the scenery or the person. Qin Yaking leaned on the railing beside him. Her perfect figure was undoubtedly revealed under the moonlight and lights, and her side face was even more beautiful. Li Hao couldn't help feeling a little restless. Perhaps she felt Li Hao's aggressive eyes. Although Qin Yaking didn't turn her head, her neck was already red. The next moment, Qin Yaking finally turned her head. Their eyes met. Looking at the charming Qin Yaking, Li Hao finally couldn't hold back and pulled Qin Yaking into his arms, hugging her tightly. Ah! Qin Yaking screamed, her beautiful eyes widened, but she was ashamed and angry, but she didn't resist. Li Hao's face slowly approached, and Qin Yaking couldn't help but close her eyes. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 24. Finally, Li Hao's mouth was imprinted on Qin Yaking's red lips. This was Qin Yaking's first kiss, and also Li Hao's first kiss. I don't know how long it lasted. Qin Yaking pushed Li Hao away. Her pretty face was already blushing, and she was so beautiful. Qin Yaking couldn't help but stare at Li Hao. This guy was so bold to kiss her? And she didn't refuse. She had kept her first kiss for more than 20 years, but it was gone. Li Hao pursed his lips, feeling unsatisfied, but now it seemed that he couldn't continue. Looking at Qin Yaking's eyes, Li Hao felt a little embarrassed and quickly changed the subject. The moon is very round tonight. Qin Yaking. Speechless, this guy, he got the advantage and didn't admit it. Let's go back. Qin Yaking said coldly, and immediately got in the car again. Li Hao also got in the car angrily, and then drove back to courtyard number 1. The door. Security guard Zhou Tai was on duty in the guard room, feeling sleepy. Beep. Suddenly, the sound of a car horn came from the door, which gave Zhou Tai a start. Zhou Tai went out and saw an Aston Martin parked. Zhou Tai was still wondering which big shot had bought this new luxury car. The next moment, he saw two familiar figures sitting in the car, which shocked Zhou Tai. It turned out to be the guy from Villa number 13. Damn, he was actually with the goddess Qin Yaking from courtyard number 1. Good evening, welcome home. Zhou Tai's reaction was not slow. He stood at ease and shouted slogans, and did not forget to open the gate. The respectful look made Li Hao want to laugh. Soon, Li Hao sent Qin Yaking to the villa. Li Hao wanted to follow him in, but Qin Yaking closed the door directly. Helplessly, Li Hao could only return to his villa next door in disgrace. Tonight is destined to be a sleepless night. Li Hao finished washing up. It was already past 10 o'clock. Li Hao took off his clothes and prepared to go to bed. He had to get up early tomorrow because he had classes. Ding dong ding dong. At the door, there was another doorbell sound. Huh, could it be that she is connected? Li Hao let out a light exclamation, thinking that the one knocking on the door was Qin Yaking from the villa next door. Li Hao walked to the door with his bare chest and shorts, and then opened the door. Then, Li Hao was stunned. It was a beauty, but it was not Qin Yaking, but a beauty that Li Hao had never seen before. Especially this beauty was wearing a cheongsam. The exquisite cheongsam showed the slim figure of the woman in front of her, and the slit of the cheongsam had been opened to the thigh. The cheongsam beauty had an extremely delicate face, distinct facial features, sober and unworldly, and with this cheongsam, she actually had a bit more classical temperament. It was a goddess. The Cheongsam beauty in front of him was also stunned for a moment, and then, ah! A scream suddenly came out of the mouth of this Cheongsam beauty, echoing throughout the villa area. Damn! Li Hao's eyes widened immediately. Don't scream, what are you doing? Li Hao said immediately, speechless. It's so late at night, and you screamed so loudly that you thought I was doing something? Why don't you wear clothes? Ye Xiun didn't expect that the man who opened the door was actually a man without clothes. She was shocked and pointed at Li Hao and said. Li Hao's face was black. I'm wearing clothes, aren't I? Li Hao pointed at his pants and said. Besides, sister, this is my house, okay? You came to knock on the door in the middle of the night, and you're wearing a Cheongsam, and I haven't screamed yet. Li Hao said speechlessly. If it were someone else who was a little more timid, he might have thought it was that thing. He should be the one to scream, okay? Big sister? I'm only 27. Ye Xiun was immediately unhappy when she heard Li Hao call her big sister. I'm only 19. Li Hao said lightly. Ye Xiun was stunned. Only 19? So young? Look at this figure, these muscles, so sexy. Immediately, Ye Xiun thought of the purpose of coming here and said to Li Hao. Are you the landlord? Li Hao was puzzled, but still nodded. Yes. Ye Xiun was happy to hear Li Hao's words. She didn't expect the landlord to be a handsome young man, so she said quickly. That's great, I came here after seeing the rental advertisement you posted. I want to rent a house of yours and move in tonight. Li Hao reacted immediately. It turned out that the tenant came to the door. This is the effect of the house rental advertisement he posted. The system prompts that a goddess will come up. It really is a goddess who came to the door, and it is a Cheongsam goddess. Li Hao looked at the Cheongsam beauty in front of him, dragging 2 large suitcases beside her. Well, since you read my post, you should know. Li Hao said tentatively. Rent, right, I personally think I look okay, and my voice is sweet. Didn't you say in the post that if you are beautiful and have a sweet voice, the rent is 1,000, no problem at all. What's your WeChat number, add me and I'll transfer the rent to you right away. Ye Xiun said very straightforwardly, knowing Li Hao's requirements. She came to Jiangbei in a hurry, and couldn't find a suitable place for a while. She grew up in a wealthy family and had high requirements for the living environment. She accidentally clicked on the portal website and saw the rental information posted by Li Hao at first sight. After looking at the photos, she immediately decided to live here. Li Hao was also stunned by Ye Xiun's straightforwardness, but he still took out his mobile phone and opened his personal WeChat QR code. Soon, the two added WeChat friends. By the way, handsome guy, is there a time limit for renting a house? Ye Xiun asked Li Hao again. Li Hao shook his head slightly. He had never thought about this. Seeing Li Hao shaking his head, Ye Xiun's face showed a smile again. Then there is no time limit. Then, a transfer reminder message came. 50,000. Li Hao's eyes widened immediately. Damn, this beautiful woman actually transferred 50,000 yuan at once. Is she going to live here for a long time? Well, let's go for 4 years first. The extra 2,000 will be used as a deposit. Ye Xiun said with a smile again. Li Hao. I feel like I have lost a lot. Okay, the money has been transferred, can I go in? Ye Xiun didn't care whether Li Hao agreed or not, and started dragging the box inside. Ye Xiun moved in openly. She really planned to live here permanently. It would be impossible for her to go back home in a short time. She was a little disappointed with her parents. A new place, hoping for a new start. She had to make her own decisions about her life. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 25. There are many empty rooms in the villa. Yeshun randomly chose one, which is right next to Li Hao's room. Ding dong, a happy life starts with living with a goddess. Congratulations to the host, you get a reward, 10 million. But at this moment, the system prompt sounded in Li Hao's mind again. He actually got another reward, and the reward was directly 10 million RMB. Li Hao was surprised and happy. A goddess lives in the villa, and he can also get a reward. Is it so cool? Just after the system prompt sound, Li Hao's mobile phone vibrated. It was a text message prompt. Your bank card account with the last number 2039 received 10 million.00 yuan in 2021, and the account balance is 10,998,710.25 yuan. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. In addition to the previous reward of 200,000 for catching the jailbreaker, and the 800,000 won in the scratch card, Li Hao's bank account now has nearly 11 million yuan. Of course, this is the funds that Li Hao can directly use. As for the shares of Yuhao Group, it is not something that can be simply estimated with money. It is something that can continuously bring wealth to Li Hao. The title of the global executive president of Yuhao Group alone has an annual salary of more than 10 million. He has a villa, a car, money, and has become a senior executive of a large group. In just 1 or 2 days, Li Hao's life has changed dramatically. Li Hao's mentality has also changed involuntarily. The next day, Li Hao got up very early. Perhaps because of the body tempering pills, even though Li Hao basically didn't sleep much, he was still energetic. However, someone got up earlier than Li Hao. In the huge living room, a beautiful woman in tight clothes was actually practicing yoga. That movement and that figure are simply exciting. Morning. Seeing Li Hao get up, Ye Xiun stopped her movements, wiped the sweat from her forehead, and greeted Li Hao. Last night, she packed up until late at night, locked the door when she went to bed, and even put a chair by the door, just in case someone had bad intentions. The guy who could post such a rental advertisement was probably a SP, so Ye Xiun was still a little cautious on the first night of her stay. But in the end, nothing happened. Although she didn't sleep well, Ye Xiun still got up early in the morning. This is a habit she has always developed. She needs to maintain a good figure. And she has to report to Jiangbei University today, so she got up early. Ding dong ding dong. But at this time, the doorbell rang again. Who knocked on the door this early in the morning? Li Hao was puzzled. I'll open the door. Ye Xiun volunteered and ran to open the door. Not good. The next moment, Li Hao secretly said that it was not good and thought of a possibility. However, he was a step slower. Ye Xiun had already opened the door. Outside the gate, a graceful woman was holding milk in one hand and a plate in the other. On the plate were breakfasts such as bread and eggs. Qin Yaqing's breakfast was simple, as usual, but today she prepared an extra portion and thought of bringing it to Li Hao. Qin Yaqing stood at the door, expecting Li Hao to open the door. But when the door of Li Hao's villa opened, Qin Yaqing saw a woman in tight clothes. This woman had a good appearance and an outstanding figure, and she was not much inferior to herself. Qin Yaqing was stunned. How could there be a woman in Li Hao's villa? And it seemed that this woman lived here last night? Could it be? Qin Yaqing was hit hard and her face turned pale at this moment. Bang! While she was stunned, the quilt in her hand slipped and fell to the ground. At this time, Li Hao also came out. Qin Yaqing looked at Li Hao with a cold look in her eyes. Yaqing, don't get me wrong, she's just my tenant. Li Hao looked at Qin Yaqing's expression and knew that Qin Yaqing had misunderstood, so he quickly explained. However, Qin Yaqing didn't say a word, and directly put the breakfast in her hand on the edge of the lawn, feeding the dog. Turned around and left. Li Hao hurriedly followed. Yaqing, it's really not what you think, she's just my tenant, she just moved in last night, I don't know her well. Qin Yaking was extremely angry. Tenant. Do you think you are a fool? You're not familiar with each other even though you live together? Scumbag Tui. He just took my first kiss yesterday, and he's already living with another woman today. No, not today, he lived with each other last night. What else is he if not a scumbag? You don't have to explain to me, you're not who to me. Qin Yaking said coldly, without even looking at Li Hao, looking like someone who kept him at a distance. Even the boyfriend is a fake. Yaking. Li Hao wanted to say something, but there was another bang, the door closed, and Li Hao was locked out. This is not even a chance to explain. Forget it. It was just a tenant, nothing happened, believe it or not, it's a misunderstanding. Li Hao walked back directly. That handsome landlord, I'm sorry, she seems to have misunderstood, is this your girlfriend? Yashiun asked Li Hao weakly. Li Hao looked at the woman speechlessly and said lightly. No, just a neighbor. Your neighbor is so beautiful, almost the same as me, don't you like her? She's so nice to you, even bringing you breakfast. Yashiun said again, not knowing if it was intentional. Li Hao glared at Yashiun, but picked up the plate at the door, which even had eggs peeled. Then, Li Hao started eating directly, not caring about Yashiun's weird eyes at all. It just happened that I didn't eat breakfast, so it was a waste if I threw it away, but it wasn't dirty. After eating, Li Hao washed up and prepared to go out. Unexpectedly, Yashiun also changed her clothes and came out, and it was a cheongsam again, not the one she wore last night. This is a white cheongsam with delicate embroidery and a shawl. The shawl is designed with pearl tassels, which is extremely exquisite. When worn on Yashiun, she is really, as her name suggests, as poetic as poetry, noble and elegant, dignified and beautiful. Only Yashiun can truly embody the beauty of classics. Dressed like this? What are you going to do? Li Hao couldn't help but be a little confused. Handsome landlord, where are you going? Unexpectedly, the other party asked Li Hao first. Class. Li Hao said directly. Huh? College students, which university? Yashiun asked again with a strange look in her eyes. Jiangbei University. Hearing Li Hao's voice, Yashiun was suddenly shocked, and a faint smile appeared on her pretty face. What a coincidence. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 26. Yashiun also had a smile on her face when she heard Li Hao say that he was a student of Jiangbei University. What a coincidence. She will also have to report to Jiangbei University soon. Yashiun didn't say anything, she wanted to see what Li Hao would look like when he saw her at school. Yashiun went out first. She had her own car. She also drove here last night. Her car was a red Mercedes-Benz. After Yashiun left, Li Hao was also going to drive directly to school. The high profile was a bit high-key, but just get used to it. But as soon as he walked out of the door, he saw a beautiful figure wearing high heels and professional attire walking not far ahead. Scumbag, scumbag. Qin Yaking kept mumbling every step she took, and she was very angry when she thought of the previous scene. What made her even more angry was that she actually had to take a taxi to work today, and she had to walk from the villa to the gate of the villa area to take a taxi. Because, yesterday, she lent her car to Li Hao's brother, but he had not yet driven it to her. After walking only a few steps in high heels, her ankles were already rubbed red. The pain was excruciating, but she could only endure it. Scumbag. Are you talking about yourself? Although Qin Yaking spoke very quietly and was still dozens of meters away, Qin Yaking's voice was still clearly heard by Li Hao. After taking the body-tempering pills, Li Hao had transformed and his hearing had become extremely sharp. Distance is nothing. Li Hao was speechless. This makes him a scumbag. Li Hao drove his Aston Martin directly and chased after him. Yaking, get in the car and I'll see you off. Li Hao naturally couldn't let Qin Yaking leave alone, so he said directly to Qin Yaking. However, Qin Yaking didn't seem to hear it. She didn't even look at Li Hao in the car next to her and walked on by herself. Oh, why are you doing this, a beautiful CEO, walking to work? What does it look like? Li Hao continued. But Qin Yaking still ignored Li Hao and walked faster and faster. But how could he pass Li Hao who was driving next to him? Ever since, there was this scene. The goddess of Jiangbei No. 1 courtyard was walking on the road, and a sports car was driving slowly next to her. A handsome guy in the car was talking non-stop. Many residents in the villa area saw the scene and thought it was another rich second generation chatting up another beautiful woman. But what made them confused was why the goddess didn't drive today. It's not convenient for you to walk on high heels. It would be bad if your foot gets twisted. Li Hao still kept talking. I want you to take care of it. Qin Yaking became a little impatient, glared at Li Hao, and said coldly. The next moment. Ouch. Qin Yaking's foot twisted. Pain. I'm going. Li Hao's eyes widened. He was really right. He was so confused. Li Hao was sure that there was no prompt from the system and it was just what he said casually. Yaking, are you okay? Li Hao stopped the car and quickly came to Qin Yaking's side, asking with concern. Go away. Qin Yaking was still stubborn and refused to let Li Hao take care of her. Tears were already painfully rolling in her eyes, but she was still able to hold them back. Let's go, I'll take you to the hospital. Naturally, Li Hao couldn't ignore it and directly copied Qin Yaking. One hand is on the waist, the other hand is on the bent leg, and the princess is holding her. Ah! Let me go. Qin Yaking was startled by Li Hao's actions and struggled to break away from Li Hao's arms. But how strong Li Hao was, she couldn't break away. While Qin Yaking was beating Li Hao's chest with her small fists, her pretty face was extremely red with embarrassment. She had never been hugged by a man like this before. Is this still outside? There are residents watching. After breaking free for a while, Qin Yaking stopped struggling and buried her head. Immediately afterwards, she was hugged by Li Hao, stuffed into the passenger seat, and taken to a nearby hospital. It seemed that he was going to be late for class, so Li Hao sent a message directly to the WeChat group of the 4 heroes. Li Hao, brothers, I have something to do and I can't make it to the first class. If you call for roll call, can I take my place? Soon, Chen Tao started to bubble up in the group. Damn, Mouse, it's so early in the morning, please be more restrained. Immediately afterwards, Wu Chao also spoke. Don't worry, leave the roll call to me, please take care of yourself Insidious. Xiaoji? What's going on? Li Hao? What are these two guys thinking? Qin Yaking just sprained it, it wasn't a big problem. She quickly applied some medicine and bandaged it and rested for a few days. Li Hao originally wanted to send Qin Yaking back to rest directly, but Qin Yaking insisted on going to the company. Your feet are like this, why don't you just go home and stay there? Li Hao said to Qin Yaking in a deep voice. Do you want to take care of it? You are not my boyfriend. Qin Yaking said again. Li Hao was speechless and his face hardened. This goddess is so stubborn. Perhaps feeling that her tone was a little stronger, Qin Yaking said weakly again. Today my company has a very important bid. If it wins, the profit this year will be very considerable. This is the reason why she wants to go to the company. After hearing this, Li Hao realized that this bidding was really important to Qin Yaking's company, so he didn't say anything more and directly sent Chin Yaking to the building of her company. When this Aston Martin stopped downstairs of Yazoo Company, it immediately attracted the attention of many people. Aston Martin. This car is so beautiful. Huh? Isn't that Mr. Chin? Who is the man driving? Is he Mr. Chin's boyfriend? Oh my god, this is big news. Now it's time to go to work again, and many employees of Chin Yaking's company were shocked by this scene. Their Mr. Chin is a recognized iceberg goddess, and she has always driven here by herself. Unexpectedly, she was sent by a man today. This is undoubtedly a shocking thing. Li Hao opened the car door and wanted to help Chin Yaking up. After all, her foot was injured. I can walk by myself. Perhaps because it was at the door of the company, Chin Yaking refused. Not far away, a man in a suit with glasses, who had just gotten off the car, also saw this scene. His face suddenly became extremely gloomy, but then he pretended to smile and walked over directly. Sun Wen came directly in front of Chin Yaking. "Morning, Mr. Sun." Chin Yaking greeted the man first when she saw him. "Mr. Chin, who is this? What happened to your foot?" Sun Wen asked directly. "My friend, Li Hao. I'm fine, I just sprained it, and he sent me here." Chin Yaking frowned slightly, but still said. This Sun Wen was the vice president of her company. He confessed to her several times, but she rejected him all the time. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 27. Sun Wen likes Chin Yaking and even confessed to her many times, but without exception, he was rejected. And all the employees in the company basically know that the company's CEO Sun likes CEO Chin and is CEO Chin's pursuer. Chin Yaking also knows it very well in her heart, but she has no feelings for Sun Wen at all. Sun Wen is the vice president of her company, and she has no reason to fire him. Moreover, he is quite capable to sit in the position of vice president. Seeing this scene in the eyes of those company employees, some surprises came out of their mouths again. It's going to be fun. Boss Sun has a rival in love. Maybe someone has gotten there first. Haha, maybe they've been boyfriend and girlfriend for a long time, but Boss Chin has never brought them out. Look, that guy is really handsome and young, he's obviously a fresh meat. Boss Chin also likes fresh meat. Although these employees of Chin Yaking's company spoke in a low voice, Li Hao still heard them clearly. Rival in love? But Li Hao also thought it was normal. A goddess like Chin Yaking, how could she not find suitors? It's normal for Sun Wen in front of him to admire Chin Yaking. Li Hao doesn't care. What Li Hao cares about is the exclamation mark on Sun Wen's head. Li Hao didn't expect that it was not in vain to send Chin Yaking to the company. He was lucky enough to find another prompt, and this prompt was on Sun Wen. Not knowing what the system would prompt this time, Li Hao was also looking forward to it. Having a prompt means that you can get a reward. This is the conclusion Li Hao came to after several verifications. So, Li Hao directly clicked on the exclamation mark above Sun Wen's head. A QR code popped up again. Li Hao paid 200 yuan without any hesitation. Sun Wen will confess to Chin Yaking again in half an hour, but will still be rejected. He will leak the bidding information of Yazoo Company to competitors, causing Yazoo Company to fail in the bidding. For more information, please click downward arrow. Suddenly, the system prompt message appeared. Seeing this prompt message, Li Hao's face suddenly sank. This Sun Wen actually leaked the secrets of the goddess company and caused the goddess to fail in this bidding. How can this be? Li Hao immediately clicked on the arrow again and paid another 400 yuan. Sun Wen, male, sanctimonious, but actually a wretched man, often watched porn in secret. The hard drive in the office computer was full, and he often ate barbecue alone. AIDS has been lurking for 3 years. Damn. When Li Hao saw this prompt message, he was shocked. This guy actually has AIDS? He must have done something shameful behind the scenes and got harassed by someone. Can the air spread it at such a close distance? Although Li Hao also knew some knowledge about AIDS and knew that the air would not spread it, he still couldn't help but take a step back. Li Hao's eyes changed when he looked at this guy. Yaking, come here, I have something to tell you. Li Hao immediately said to Qin Yaking again. This guy is the vice president of Qin Yaking's company. To be on the safe side, the best way is to let him get out. What's the matter? Tell me. Qin Yaking frowned slightly when she heard what Li Hao said, and said directly. Seeing this, Li Hao directly took Qin Yaking's hand and came to the other side of the car. Qin Yaking wanted to withdraw her hand, but was held tightly by Li Hao. She was shocked. There were so many people in the company watching. Her pretty face flushed again. She couldn't help but glared at Li Hao again, complaining extremely. This guy is getting bolder and bolder. This scene, in the eyes of Sun Wen, made his whole face even more gloomy, and his eyes looking at Li Hao were full of coldness. Oh my God! This guy actually pulled President Qin's hand. Oh my God, President Qin didn't resist. It must be her boyfriend. It's confirmed. Look, President Sun's face is black. Not far away, the employees of Yazo Company were shocked when they saw this scene. On the other side. Speak. Qin Yaking glared at Li Hao again. Li Hao leaned close to Qin Yaking's ear and whispered. This guy is not a good person. He will confess to you later. He has AIDS. You'd better stay away from him. What? How do you know? Qin Yaking was shocked when she heard Li Hao's words. She frowned and looked at Li Hao in surprise, trying to see something in Li Hao's eyes. Her first feeling was that it was unlikely. Sun Wen had worked with her in her company for several years and was always polite. Could it be that Li Hao disliked this guy and deliberately slandered him? However, what Qin Yaking saw was Li Hao's serious face. Li Hao continued to speak. Also, don't you have a bidding today? You'd better resubmit the bidding information and don't let this guy know. Li Hao didn't know whether doing so would change the result, but he still told Qin Yaking, just in case. Are you saying that he will leak the secret? Qin Yaking stared at Li Hao again and naturally knew what Li Hao meant by this. That's right. Li Hao nodded. Haha. This is impossible. However, Qin Yaking smiled and said firmly that she did not believe that the vice president of the company who had been with her for so many years leaked secrets. Li Hao, you have to think that everyone is bad and you are the only good guy. Qin Yaking glanced at Li Hao and said lightly, thinking that Li Hao was overthinking. After Qin Yaking finished speaking, she walked directly towards the company building, obviously not listening to Li Hao's words. Sun Wen glanced at Li Hao again, his eyes cold, and then looked at that beautiful back, with some thoughts already in his mind. Alas! Li Hao shook his head slightly. Treat your kindness as a donkey's liver and lungs. He has already said what he should say. As for what Qin Yaking will do next, it is none of his own business. If you don't listen to yourself, you will regret it. Li Hao didn't hesitate too much and drove directly to school. It's already past 9 o'clock, and the first class has already started. When Qin Yaking walked to her office, opening the door, it was filled with roses. The end of a rose path was a heart made of roses. This time, there is romantic music playing. Later, a man in a suit and glasses walked towards her with a large bouquet of flowers in his hand. It was Sun Wen. Seeing this scene, Qin Yaking suddenly frowned again, but her heart skipped a beat. Is this another confession to myself? That guy really hit the mark. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 28. Sun Wen held flowers in his hands and came directly to Qin Yaking, looking at Qin Yaking with admiration. Then, Sun Wen took out another delicate box from the bag. The box is not big, but it can be seen that the contents inside must be very valuable. The next moment, Sun Wen opened the box directly, and inside was a women's watch. This is a Cartier women's watch, costing tens of thousands of dollars at least, and then he said to Qin Yaking with an affectionate look on his face. Yaking, I like you. I have liked you for many years. Can you be my girlfriend? Confess your love. This is something Sun Wen decided very early on. This is also the last time he confesses his love to Qin Yaking. If Qin Yaking doesn't agree, then he won't be able to hang with him. Don't regret. When Qin Yaking saw this scene, a strange color appeared in her eyes, and she was extremely shocked inside. That guy was really right. How did he know that Sun Wen would confess to him? Could that guy really be able to tell fortunes? The prophet. Qin Yaking thought about the first time she met Li Hao. The guy said that he would fall down in the shower. She didn't believe it at the time. Unfortunately, she actually fell down in the shower later. If this is the case, then the Sun Wen in front of him must be suffering from AIDS, and he will also leak the company's secrets. There was a change in Qin Yaking's eyes when she looked at Sun Wen. But soon, Qin Yaking shook her head again. It must be a coincidence. Qin Yaking murmured in her heart, still unwilling to believe that Sun Wen, who had been with her for many years, could be like that. Sun Wen also made a big contribution to the development of her company to this stage. Qin Yaking looks cold, but she is actually very soft and kind at heart. Mr. Sun, Mr. Sun, Mr. Sun. Mr. Qin, Mr. Qin, Mr. Qin. Oh. Dot. Sun Wen's confession was naturally seen in the eyes of the employees of these companies, and many employees couldn't help but cheer, especially Sun Wen's confidants, who cheered the loudest. At this moment, everyone's eyes fell on Qin Yaking. I want to see if Qin Yaking will agree this time. Finally, Qin Yaking spoke. I'm sorry, Sun Wen, I can't promise you. Refused. Qin Yaking refused directly. At this moment, Sun Wen's expression changed again, and his smile froze. Why? Sun Wen was still unwilling and asked again. We are not suitable. Qin Yaking said directly that she really had no feelings for Sun Wen at all. Haha, not suitable? Not suitable? Is it because of that kid just now? At this moment, Sun Wen couldn't control his emotions because of Qin Yaking's rejection. He laughed coldly and said loudly, even with a questioning tone. After hearing Sun Wen's words and seeing his appearance, Qin Yaking's expression became a bit grim. Yes. Because, he is my boyfriend. Qin Yaking did not deny it and said lightly, since the other party thinks so, then it is good. At this juncture, Li Hao, the shield boyfriend, should also come into play, and it's not the first time. Really? Mr. Qin actually admitted it? Oh my god, that guy is actually Mr. Qin's boyfriend. My goddess, she actually has a master. Oh my god, my earth, what a good cabbage, but it was overrun by that thing. This is such a sad story. I'm okay, but Mr. Sun is really miserable. Dot. As soon as Qin Yaking's words came out, the surrounding employees suddenly burst into an uproar, and some even looked like they were crying and howling with heartbreak. Sun Wen stood there blankly. Hearing Qin Yaking's words, his whole body felt as if he had been hit hard. The next moment, Sun Wen's eyes turned a little red. Angry. In his heart, an uncontrollable anger was arising. The goddess he has been pursuing for so many years is actually someone else's girlfriend. The guy who sent her here in the morning may have already slept in her bed. Damn, bitch. At this moment, Sun Wen cursed at Qin Yaking in his heart. If he couldn't get her, he began to hate him crazily. Haha. Sun Wen laughed again and said directly to Qin Yaking. Mr. Qin, not choosing me is a wrong decision. You will definitely regret it. After saying that, Sun Wen threw the flowers aside, then turned and left. If that's the case, then you can't blame me. Sun Wen made a decision in his heart that he must make Qin Yaking regret her decision. Don't worry, Mr. Sun, I will never regret it. By the way, don't be late for the bidding meeting later. Behind him, Qin Yaking's voice came again. Qin Yaking looked at Sun Wen's back, but she already had a bad feeling in her heart. The other side. Li Hao has already driven his Aston Martin to Jiangbei University. He drove into the school without any obstruction. The security guard guarding the door thought it was another rich second generation from another family who drove a supercar to school. There were many rich second generations like this in Jiangbei University. Along the way, it attracted the attention of many Jiang University students. Many girls' eyes were shining, and many losers' eyes were full of envy. Li Hao did not drive to the dormitory, but drove directly to the second teaching building. Because Li Hao still had classes to attend today. In front of him, looking at the time, the first class had just ended, and it seemed that roll call was taken. Fortunately, his brothers helped to take over. This was said by Wu Chao in the group of 4 heroes of the wind and dust. Wu Chao just parked the car and got out of the car. Handsome guy, can you add WeChat? 2 girls who were dressed very fashionably and looked very beautiful came up and said to Li Hao. Li Hao was startled. It was different to drive an Aston Martin. A girl came to him directly to ask for WeChat. This had never happened before. No problem. Looking at these 2 very beautiful girls, they should be seniors, and their figures were also very sexy. Li Hao said immediately without refusing. I don't refuse anyone who comes. Let's not talk about the fact that I really don't have a girlfriend now. Even if I do, it's all for my brothers. Well, that's what I think. Soon, Li Hao added WeChat with the 2 girls. Well, I have classes, so I'll go in first. Li Hao said directly. Okay, handsome. Let's play together next time. The 2 girls said happily again. Li Hao trotted to a public classroom. In the group of 4 heroes of the wind and dust, the good brothers have at Li Hao several times. Hazi, why haven't you come yet? Where are you? Come on. 312, come and see the new goddess in the school. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 29. Li Hao looked at the message in the group and was confused. Li Hao? What new goddess? Wu Chao, Hazi, don't you pay attention to the campus sticky bar and forum? Xiaoji, it's already exploded on the sticky bar and forum, take a look for yourself. Chen Tao, Hazi, come to 312 quickly, our class is the goddess class, the classroom is full of people, fortunately Leizu ran fast and grabbed 2 seats, Hazi come quickly. In the group of Feng Chen 4 heroes, the messages from the dormitory brothers came one after another. The campus sticky bar and forum have exploded. Li Hao's heart has already been a little curious. But now, class is about to start, Li Hao has no time to look at the sticky bar and forum, just speed up and go to classroom 312. When Li Hao came to classroom 312, he saw a scene that made Li Hao dumbfounded. The door of the classroom was full of people, and some people kept squeezing in. This is a public tiered classroom, but at this moment, it is really overcrowded, even the stairs are full of people. Mostly boys. Is this my elective class? That's right, this class is Li Hao's elective class, and it is also the class that several brothers in the dormitory choose together. The reason why they choose this class is because it is a teacher training class. Mostly girls. But now, the situation is reversed. Li Hao was speechless, the door was blocked. In the past, there must not be so many people in this class, not even half of the classroom was full. These guys are definitely not here for class. The purpose is self-evident. Please make way. Li Hao started to squeeze indirectly. Damn, what are you squeezing for? Li Hao squeezed with such force that someone was immediately unhappy and cursed directly. I'm going to class. What? Is there a problem? Li Hao was not afraid at all. He said coldly to the young man who had just spoken. The young man was about 1.8 meters tall and had a very strong body, but Li Hao was not afraid at all. He looked at him with cold eyes. The young man was a little angry when he heard Li Hao's words, and said to Li Hao fiercely. Are you looking for death? Do you want to practice with me? At this time, the students around saw the scene and immediately showed a look of watching a good show, and even made some space. Who is this kid? He dared to provoke Mahan, I'm afraid he will be miserable. This Mahan is the center of the school basketball team. Is it going to fight? Many people recognized this strong young man. He was the main center of Jiangda's school basketball team. He played well and had great strength. Center of the school team. Li Hao didn't care at all. Come on. Li Hao said calmly without any fear, not taking Mahan seriously at all. At this moment, Mahan was really angry, stretched out his hands and grabbed Li Hao. He wanted to throw Li Hao over. However, his hands fell on Li Hao, and he grabbed Li Hao with force. It didn't move. With his strength, the guy in front of him didn't move. He increased his strength again. But, it was like grabbing a mountain. It still didn't move. For a moment, the air seemed to be filled with a hint of embarrassment. The next moment, Li Hao also moved, stretched out his hand and grabbed Mahan's wrist. Then he exerted a little force. Ah! A scream suddenly sounded, and Mahan's eyes showed an extremely horrified look. Oh my God! Get out of the way! The students around were even more shocked, because Mahan was directly pulled over by the guy in front of them, and they didn't want to be hit, so they all gave up the position where Mahan landed. Bang! A dull sound was heard, and Mahan fell heavily to the ground. Ouch! A scream came from Mahan's mouth, and he curled up on the ground, looking very embarrassed. When the students around saw this scene, they were shocked and felt like they had seen a ghost. Mahan, the center of the school basketball team, was actually thrown over by this guy who looked even a little thin. Oh my God! What a ghost! How much power does this have? There was a constant uproar around, and eyes were focused on Li Hao, and many girls' eyes showed a touch of brilliance. Li Hao looked at Mahan on the ground again. Go play ball fight? You can't do it? Li Hao's voice was filled with extreme confidence and pride. After taking the body-hardening pill, Li Hao's body had already transformed, and his strength was even greater. How could this guy in front of him be his opponent? After saying that, Li Hao even dusted off his clothes and tidied up the wrinkles on his clothes that had just been scratched by Mahan. Then, Li Hao went straight into the classroom again, and the guy who was blocking the way quickly made way for Li Hao. After a glance, there were too many people, and Li Hao didn't even see those guys, and then asked in the group. Where are you sitting? The next moment. Mouse, here. Mouse. Two figures stood up from the seats on the right side of the third row and shouted to Li Hao. They were Wu Chao and Chen Tao. These two guys actually took such a front seat. In the past, they sat in the last row. Soon, Li Hao sat next to Wu Chao. Hazi, you are finally here. Tell me the truth, did you do that with Goddess Jean last night? As soon as Li Hao sat down, Wu Chao and Chen Tao asked Li Hao with a wretched look on their faces. "Oh my God, what are you two thinking about?" Li Hao said speechlessly. At this time, Xiaoji also spoke. "Hazi, you are hiding too deep, aren't you? You are the boss of Yu Hao Group, and you didn't even tell your brothers what your family does." When Xiaoji heard that Li Hao was actually a shareholder of Yu Hao Group and was very familiar with goddess Jin Yaking, the boss of Yazu Group, he didn't believe it at first, but when he saw the Porsche driven by Wu Chao and the others, he had to believe it. Xiaoji was frightened. This is the real boss, this is the real rich man. Compared with Li Hao, the money in his family is really dregs. You all know that I grew up in an orphanage. Li Hao said lightly. Tisk. Forget it. Make it up. I know, you grew up in an orphanage, but you must be the legitimate son of a super rich family, and then you were found, right? You must inherit a 100 billion fortune. Anyway, Hazi, no brother Hao, I call you brother. Brother Hao, I will be a pendant on your leg in the future, do you think it's okay? Li Hao stared directly, suddenly remembered something, and asked again. By the way, didn't you say the goddess? Where is she? I can't see her. She should be here soon, don't panic. This is the real goddess, I don't know how many streets she crushes those school beauties. Wu Chao and Chen Tao said again immediately. But at this moment, the bell for class rang. Oh. Yeah. My God. Dot. The crowd outside the door began to surge, and there were screams. In the classroom, eyes were looking in that direction. The next moment, a goddess with glasses, cheongsam, high heels, and a slim figure walked in. With a confident smile on her face, she walked straight to the podium. When Li Hao saw this goddess, his eyes widened and he was shocked. It turned out to be her. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 30. Isn't this goddess wearing a cheongsam and walking onto the podium? Yeshiun, who moved into her villa last night. She wore the cheongsam she wore when she went out in the morning, but she wore a pair of glasses, which made her look more artistic. Damn. When Li Hao saw this scene, he cursed. What's going on? How did Yeshiun suddenly become a teacher at his university? Is this the goddess Wu Chao and the others were talking about? Li Hao glanced at Wu Chao and Chen Tao beside him. These guys were staring at Yeshiun intently, looking like pigs. She's so humming beautiful. Oh my God, she's more beautiful than in the photo. I think I'm in love with her. She's really a goddess, I want to break up. Dot. In the classroom, voices rang out one after another, and all the boys felt like they were in love. And those girls, looking at Yeshiun on the podium, their hearts were also filled with endless fluctuations, and they gradually became inferior. This was a comprehensive crushing in terms of appearance, figure, and temperament. It must be said that Yeshiun, wearing a cheongsam, really showed off her perfect figure, and also had a special classical temperament. This was Yeshiun's second class today. She herself did not expect that after the first class, she would become famous in Zhang University. Zhang University's sticky bar, forums, and even the friends circle of these students were all full of her photos. At this moment, Yeshiun walked up to the podium and looked at the appearance of these college students below. A curve appeared at the corner of her mouth. She also knew the lethality of her appearance. It's normal. Yeshiun was used to it. Yeshiun's sight swept around the classroom, and finally, at the edge of the third row, she saw a familiar face. Li Hao. Yeshiun looked at Li Hao, and Li Hao also looked at Yeshiun, and couldn't help but be startled. Yeshiun blinked at Li Hao, and a cunning look appeared on her face, and there was a hint of teasing in her eyes, as if saying, "Isn't this the handsome landlord?" Li Hao. No wonder I said I was a student of Jiangbei University in the morning. Oh my god, this is obviously intentional. At this time. Oh my god, Hazi, Brother G, and Brother Tao, the goddess is looking at me, did you see it? She is looking at me and she is giving me electric shocks, I feel like I am going to fall. Suddenly, Wu Chao said to Li Hao and others excitedly. Tisk, why do I feel like she is looking at me? Chen Tao said disdainfully on the side. No. Xiaoji said noisily on the side. Chen Tao. Wu Chao, what's wrong? Xiaoji said slowly. This is your illusion, she should be looking at Hazi. What? Wu Chao and Chen Tao looked at Li Hao again in surprise. Xiaoji also looked at Li Hao next to him slowly. Just now, Xiaoji noticed that Li Hao clearly had eye contact with the other party. That was a look of affection, a wink. No way. Could it be that the goddess has taken a fancy to Hazi again? Wu Chao and Chen Tao opened their mouths in disbelief. Li Hao did not expect that Xiaoji could actually notice the eye contact between him and Ye Xiun, and he immediately laughed. Haha, I am so handsome, it is normal for someone to take a fancy to me. Li Hao said with a smile. Wu Chao, damn Hazi, I didn't realize that you are so narcissistic. Chen Tao. Xiaoji, how do you maintain yourself? Why do you feel like you are much whiter than before? Li Hao was stunned again, and was still discovered. I am not only whiter, but also stronger. Drink more milk, and you will be naturally white. Li Hao said with a grin. Xiaoji, is it true? Wu Chao, Hazi, milk, or what kind of milk? Chen Tao, face cleanser. These guys are so stuffy, and the more they talk, the more frivolous they become. At this time, the goddess on the stage has begun to introduce herself. Hello, students. My name is Ye Xiun. Professor Zhang has some health problems and has gone home to recuperate. So, from today on, I will be the teacher of this class. I hope that in the next period of time, you will be able to gain something from my class. It's our first meeting. Do you have any questions? Ye Xiun said with a smile. She was not aloof at all and was very approachable. Teacher Ye, how old are you? A boy asked directly. Ye Xiun smiled again and said slowly. He. This is a very personal question. Guess how old I am? 18. 20. Soon, the students in the classroom talked at once. I am 27 this year. Although I am 27, don't worry, I also have the title of associate professor, so there is no problem teaching you this class. Ye Xiun smiled and said, and her voice was also filled with a touch of confidence in her academic level. Only 27. Such a young associate professor. Teacher Ye is a top student. Awesome Plath. When these students heard that Ye Xiun was actually an associate professor, exclamations suddenly resounded in the classroom again. Teacher Ye, do you have a boyfriend? But at this time, I don't know which boy called out again, asking almost everyone's thoughts. Yes, Teacher Ye, do you have a boyfriend? Yes. Teacher Ye. When Ye Xiun heard this, she didn't hesitate, but sighed. A boyfriend? I haven't met one yet. Although the goddess sighed, the boys shouted again. Haha, I don't have one, there is a chance. Teacher Ye, do you think I have a chance? The goddess is actually single. Beside Li Hao, Wu Chao and the other two were also excited. Wu Chao, there is a chance. Chen Tao, you must go, you have to go on WeChat after class. Xiaoji, you too, there is no chance, maybe Hazi will go. The atmosphere in the classroom is very lively. Okay, everyone be quiet, if there is no problem, let's start the class. Seeing that the atmosphere was almost lively, Ye Xiun was ready to end this topic and start the class. But at this time, Teacher Ye is here, what are your criteria for a boyfriend? I don't know who it is. Yeshun was speechless. These guys are still not stopping. This is the last question. Yeshun said directly. I thought about it again. Boyfriend. In fact, Yeshun didn't have any concept in her mind. From childhood to adulthood, she didn't come into contact with many opposite sexes. After graduation, the strange phenomena she came into contact with were also arranged by her family, which were not her favorite dishes. It was precisely because of this that she fell out with her family. Yeshun looked at Li Hao again, as if she thought of something, and said slowly. First, he must be good looking. Second, he must be rich. Third, he must be able to protect me. Fourth. I can think of these three for now.